Afternoon, good evening, everybody out there. Welcome
Uh,
on in. Hey, Julie, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome.
Here I am. Here I am. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So excited.
Here, let me invite. Hey, Ginger, good to see you. Coming on in. What are we going to talk about today or tonight? We're going to talk about the podcasting process. I was, I think it's really important that we take the talks that we do on Clubhouse and other platforms, especially here, and take a part of that, that opportunity. There's a lot of growth here on Breakout. So thank you so much, Julie, for coming out to my invitation. I definitely appreciate it in so many ways. And I finally got in my application to verification. So finally the process went through, some of the kinks are worked out. So great opportunity to be here. So Julie, you've been into podcasting for a little while. Ori, so good to see you. How you doing? Good to see you, man. You've been into podcasting for a while now, and you had a great interview on I saw on your YouTube with Gary Vaynerchuk over the weekend. You care to share that before we really dive deep into that?
Oh, yes, it was electrifying. If you guys know Gary Vaynerchuk, I spent a couple days with him, but I got my one-on-one time with him, and it was fabulous. He is exactly what you think he'd be like in person. So that's all I got for now.
Yeah, and
Inside Skinny.
Now, how long ago did you start the podcasting process? I mean, what really got you into it? I mean, I'm just doing a little bit of an interview so we can get some context, not just to our listeners, but I'm also producing live on YouTube. So we're sharing it live on Breakout. So for YouTube fans, you might be hearing this recorded. I want to give exposure to the app. I want to grow it. I want it to shine the way that it needs to. And we've got to bring in more people, not just share to content creators, but we need the consumer. We need the person who's going to love to listen to this stuff, come over, hear great people talk. So we got
takes a village.
Yeah, it really does. And
I wrote a book on podcasting too, Jay. Did you know that?
I did not know that. What's the title of your book?
Yes. It's called Audiocasters, The Ultimate Guide to Podcasting.
And where can people find that?
You can find that on Amazon, Audiocasters, or just Google my name, Julie Lokun. But that's besides the point. I've been podcasting for several years, and I never wanted to do it. And then there you go. I write a book about it. So it's fun. It's an amazing platform to just tell your story, market your brand, or goof around if you really want to.
And I see your, I'm going to see if I can share this to this screen on YouTube. So for those of you who are going to follow me on YouTube, I'm going to share with the screen what book she's talking about. So bingo, you can see it. There it is. Audiocasters, The Ultimate Guide to Podcast. We also have another author on stage with it. We have Ori Spaldo. I do have a copy of Ori's book. I did order that, and I have not read it. So Ori, welcome to the stage as well. I definitely appreciate you. I've enjoyed many of your discussions. So welcome on in.
Well, thank you, Jason. It's great to see you. Hello, Julie, my dear friend. All right, it's awesome to be here, folks. I'm glad you're doing this.
Hello.
I have my room on Fridays at 12 noon on Breakout, only on Breakout. Stories with Ori. And, this week I'm going to have a special guest. He is not going to be on the app, but he will be on the telephone. And you're going to hear more amazing stories. This guy is from New Jersey. You're going to hear a story how he literally stole an entire street. Yes, a street that was made with special bricks, and how they stole that street and sold those bricks. That's one story he has. And, you're on YouTube. A lot of people know me on YouTube. I have done well over 100 podcasts. My biggest, obviously, being Vlad. I have millions and millions of views on my podcast. I don't do one personally. I only tell stories. I'm open to interviews. People call me. I do the interviews on podcast. but I don't have my own.
That you
You
know
got
what?
sugar down there.
You know what,
Huh?
Ori, what I like about your style, and hey, welcome in Shar and Scotty. Definitely appreciate you guys coming in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wait, can I just say one thing to Ori?
Sure,
Can
go
I
right ahead.
give him one suggestion? So his stories with Ori on Friday, I suggest that you do an Instagram live before and like get all your people on Instagram and like speak about Breakout, like just give them those breakout.fm. It's exclusive. I'm going to be giving you this exclusive ringside seat to my stories that no one else knows. I mean, that will like build up a little further, but you just have to keep telling them they have to download the Breakout FM app.
Well, Julie, I'm going to have to get you on the phone. You're going to have to teach me how to do that on Twitter.
Not on Twitter, like on Instagram. Just do an Instagram live. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
Don't people love you on Instagram?
Yes, they do. They love me all over. You know, last night, I want to tell you, folks, I had an amazing evening. I was the celebrity guest at a Hollywood event here last night on domestic violence. And I gave a speech because domestic violence against women and children, I'm just that against. And I had the audience on the edge of their seats, literally. And it was such an amazing event. And we're going to be doing more. We're going to do a big.
Is it me or his signal went out? Or did he mute? I'm not really certain.
Yeah, it went out.
He might have had a phone call. I'm not sure. But, you know, and that's another thing on YouTube as well. I didn't quite get the link, but if you're watching me on YouTube, you can see, I'll put probably the link in the description into the two books that we've talked, Ori and Julie's book. So when I get done producing this YouTube, I will put in a link, direct link, the Amazon store where you can purchase their books. So we're really here to talk about content creation, and for podcasters, we're here to really bust out with Breakout. We need to make breakthroughs. There's a lot of content creators. There's a lot of space right now. There's a lot of empty space that we can all take advantage of. But to get to that point, I really think that it's very, very important that we look at, you know, what is a podcast and what's it for? What's our journey been like? And if you look at Ori's experience, he's been interviewed pretty often. So that's experience a lot right there. When someone's interviewing you for a particular podcast or show or radio, because if you really think about it, it's an experience to be a part of, because podcasts, you can download it at any time you want, depending on where it is. Most people listen through Apple, some Google, but now a lot of people are creating pod pages, which if you don't have a pod page, go to podpage.com, download it. It's a great for any content creator out there. You can put all your social medias. It will play your podcasts, even YouTube. So take advantage of that opportunity. I also see Mike C. Rock in the house. Thank you so much for coming on in. If any of you guys care to join the stage, because this is an open stage for any content creator and tips and tricks. This is being recorded live for YouTube, just as a reminder. So we'll be able to produce that for you. So podcasting starts with a story, starts with a piece of information. You know, whether your personal experience, your profession, maybe your interest, could be underwater basket weaving or knitting, could be scuba diving, don't know, but you make it whatever you like. And you really got to appreciate that exposure alone has made many people celebrities, notable. I mean, if you look at Julie's interview, which I spent time watching today, you know, Gary talking about having his experience and where his curiosity has taken him, and even some of those points of staying curious grows your brand, grows your business, and don't being boxed in. So I think that's one of the first things we should address is, what are you telling people and why are you telling it? I think that's the most important. Ori, so what got you to tell your story in a book and to be interviewed? I'm just curious, for the public, if you care to answer.
Well, that's a long story. Now, Mr. C-Rock, are you ready for a long story from Ori? Because he doesn't. He and I got an inside joke.
C-Rock, come up here. Come up here.
It all began when I came out of prison, and I happened to be represented by the most prestigious entertainment law firm in Hollywood, Hirsch, Wallerstein, Ham, Matloff, and Fishman. Now, how does a gangster become represented by a firm like that that represents Julia Roberts, J-Lo, Francis Ford Coppola, and all the top in the industry? That's the story only the Hollywood fixture knows about. But anyhow, I was having dinner because a lot of people were approaching me wanting to do a reality show. And I know Hollywood very well. I've been around it for almost 50 years. And I know that 90% of what you hear in Hollywood is bullshit. So I was telling George about it. And he looks at me and says, write a book. I know your story, Ari. Write a book and we'll make a movie. I said, George, I never wrote a book in my life. He says, find a co-writer. Well, all the writers I know in Hollywood are script writers. Writing a script and writing a book are two totally different things. So I was on 4-year supervised release with extremely stringent conditions on even leaving the house. I mean, I could have walked into a drugstore, and if you were there, Jason, you were found, they could have violated me. So I just come up early in the morning. I begin at 5 a.m. in the morning. And I said, it's got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I wanted my voice to come off the pages. I wanted to tell the truth. And I wanted to do it with the intent that I could help young people stay out of a life of crime. And needless to say, I have created all that there. My book is just not about a gangster. It's about my successes in business, about my failures in business, and how I keep coming back. So the book is done very well, and now it's being made into a Hollywood movie, written and directed by George Gallo of Midnight Run, Bad Boys, Comeback Trail, and several others, as well as Nick Vallanoga, Oscar winner for Best Picture of the Year, Green Book. And I have Sean Robbins on as a producer. He's done Mortal Kombat and a slew of others. And so that's what's happening with it. But I think my first podcast was with the Gangster Chronicles. And it was created by some of the guys who were around Suge Knight, who I happen to know. And I happen to like Suge. You know, Suge was always very respectful towards me. And I actually collected $1 million for Suge in London. So, anyways, that was my first podcast. I went on there. I told the truth. I hurt a couple people because I told the truth. But, hey, it's too bad. You know, it's the truth because the truth hurts. Right. And I did very well. And from there, I was getting phone calls, emails, and texts every day of people wanting me on their show. And then, of course, Leg called me. He offered me a few bucks to drive out to his studio, and I did it there. So, you know, some people I charge, some I don't. My time is becoming more valuable, and so forth and so on. Today I shipped out a carton of books free of charge to somebody in Atlanta because they're doing a lot to help the youth of our country. And, you know, so I wanted to be able to give books to those young kids. And they're very happy with that. So I do a lot of giving because life is not about takers. I posted something on that today, right here on Breakout, about givers and takers.
Well, thank you
So
so
it's
much,
there.
Ori. And you know what? I really appreciate, and that's a perfect example, ladies and gentlemen, that you don't have to start out like maybe the way that I did. I started out on anchor.fm, which, 5-6 years ago, it was based on you're creating a minute audio, and then they were bought out by Spotify and you could make 30 minutes, but it was social audio in its beginning, and it was a great experience, but I didn't know what I was getting into when I started as a podcast. I didn't have equipment. I had a phone and a headset, but what I did have was a thirst to share experience, share life, dive into not just advice giving, but living and telling stories. You meet someone like Ori. I mean, I met Ori a little over a year ago here on on Clubhouse. Excuse me. I met him a year ago on Clubhouse, and just hearing him, I listened to him talk quite a few content creators, Mike Sirocco, C-Rock. That's where I first heard you, and then I've heard you in various interviews. I looked up, your interview with Sally Cologne. I watched that, and it was a great experience. So it's people like that really bring, things that people love. Crime stories. Let's face it. People are nosy. They want to know how things on the other side of the fence are, and even true crime, or some people have fascinations with murder mysteries or I don't know, but the point is there's a niche for everybody. And whatever your story is, however you want to make it, and the people that you're going to invite to your stages, or just a conversation. A podcast can be just a simple conversation between two people. I think that's another valuable point. And it goes far. People want to know more, and they want to know, is my story worth sharing? Like I'm just now in the process of setting up an interview with a guy off TikTok that I found was so interesting and compelling. And he's talking about parental alienation. And I have that own story that I'm setting up. So that's one thing. But you meet a lot of people along the way, and everyone's got a skill, a speaking style. Some people like going on camera, other people don't. I mean, it really depends. Uh-oh, what happened?
What happened?
I don't know. This episode is all about I don't know. Something happened. It glitched, but I can tell I'm still here.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Ori.
Yeah, here you go.
Did Julie leave? Julie, are you still there? Hello, Julie, are you there? Hold on. Scotty's there. Okay, I see Scotty's there. I wonder if Julie left the stage in maybe she may have shut the show down. That may have possibly happened.
Yeah.
Well, I still see the original title, like the original title of the room. And as a listener, and now on the speaker stage, I don't even see you guys. It says that there are 0 hosts and 0 co-hosts.
That is the weirdest thing.
No, just on the audience.
Glitches. New app. Glitches. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the app will catch up and refresh, and it doesn't shut down the show sooner than I'd like. But this is also why in the podcasting process, the show must go on, as they say in entertainment, and you've got to figure out ways to back yourself up. So I am producing live on YouTube, and as long as this app on Breakout is going, I will say there is an ability for people to hear this recorded as well. So no matter what, I've got this thing going, and if it shuts down, it shuts down. Yeah, but that's the thing about podcasting. You never know what's going to happen. Your tech or your phone signal can go down, or it could be on point and everything goes flawless. You never know what's going to happen. Scotty, do you care to share your experience in podcasting? Are you a content creator yourself?
On Clubhouse, I am. I have a pretty decent following on Clubhouse. In about a 2-year period, I grew a club just doing one room a week up to about almost 37,000 people, still doing that one room. And but for the last 3 years, maybe 4 years, I've had various different ideas for a podcast, and then essentially just using Clubhouse as a proof of concept. And I just kind of ran the numbers, like Clubhouse is a really small ecosystem. And I figured if I have the amount of interest that I do on that platform, that using something like, a podcast and putting it on YouTube and Spotify and all the other, that I might see some success there. So I will be starting within about 45 to 60 days. So I'm just listening to people like you and listening to their experiences and learning a little bit, and about to dive into the audio editing process to see what the learning curve is on that.
Well, I can give you a few I can give you a few suggestions about the editing process. One platform I do use for audio editing and video editing is an application called DESCRIPT. And DESCRIPT, what it does is you record essentially your podcast or your vidcast or YouTube, whatever, from a platform like Restream or StreamYard, whatever you want. And what it does is it downloads that file into its application, and it shows you if it's video, it'll show you a screen of yourself. You play the video, but then it'll show a transcription. And the way that the transcription works is it prints out every single word you say. So if you yell out ums and ahs and whatever, what have you, it's definitely there for you to see. And when you highlight, say, like certain words like ums and ahs, you know what I'm saying, or whatever filler words you have, it has the ability to highlight that and delete it. And guess what? It deletes in your audio and video. But you got to be careful, because if you delete too much, there'll be little gaps in your audio. And maybe when your lips are moving, it can pass, but it's just something that you might want to take in consideration. Adobe has their version to edit. It's much more tedious. You can do it also in depending on whether you have a Mac or you have a PC. It really, really depends on what you want to feel comfortable with. But the user friendliness of DESCRIPT, it's $30 a month, and if you produce content, a couple times a month, it could save you a lot of time instead of paying somebody. And it's user friendly, and they're always offering tutorials to how to do that. So that's also a part of the podcasting process. Everyone has a persuasion on what to do, how to do it, but the biggest part of it is your exploration and what you want to do to make it work. I think that's something else to take notice, is you are going to have to go through a learning curve. A lot of people are very hard on themselves, and they compare to someone like Joe Rogan or someone else professional. Like, I like Tom Buck. I like Scott Galloway. I like Ryan Holiday. Those are a few of my favorite content creators, podcasters, writers, and they have teams of people. But when it's just yourself, I would highly suggest check out DESCRIPT. I think they have a free version, so you might want to explore it and give it a whirl, give it a try out. That might help
for
you.
That.
Yeah,
I had a couple of other friends recommend it, and I believe I have that open in a tab on my PC or saved somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, the editing process, I think something like that, it would help immensely, and it sounds like it's well worth the $1 a day, $30 a month. So I think for me right now, that's the biggest thing is learning the editing process. And I have a lot of content on Clubhouse, which I've not downloaded yet.
I highly suggest downloading that. Download it to a backup hard drive, because some of my content on there has disappeared for good.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, always. Depending on whether you've got a phone, even if you have a phone, you can get a cloud and you can back up your files to clouds, but make sure you label them so you know what you're listening to when you do it.
Well, that's the thing is when you download Clubhouse audio files, it doesn't download the title. It downloads it in a file number.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just difficult. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm going to just probably just take screenshots of each discussion. So the date is on there, a timestamp and a date, and then download all those files en masse and then just match the dates and then put the titles back in there.
Yeah, there is other options. Let's see, there's GarageBand, but you have to listen to your audio and edit things out. And that is micro time. That is time where you have to really look at the audio file and listen carefully. And then you gotta pin the part where you feel like you want it, it's more tedious. So if DESCRIPT can save you time and money, then go for it. And that's the thing is, all my services that I subscribe to, whether it be Restream, DESCRIPT, Epidemic Sound, these are things that I use, like the intro sound that when I first started the room. I downloaded Epidemic Sound, paid for a year, and it's royalty free. That's the thing, is like there's lots of things in the podcasting. People like those, amazing intros and jingles and sounds, and they don't want to get dinged for copyright infringement. There are websites like Epidemic Sound. Then there's things like Canva. Canva, you can make thumbnails, you can make social media posts for Instagram, Facebook, you name it, they've got it. So, and I'm looking forward to trying to talk to the creators of Breakout and say, hey, we need to get some logos over to Canva so we can make thumbnails and pictures and all that great stuff to expose Breakout for the app that it is, and just show, hey, we want to grow here. So content creators. So that's the other thing. There's lots of things that go into the podcasting process, but there's nothing better than enjoying this journey. Talking about, like, I use Stoicism in the morning. I go on 3 mornings a week, and I use the Daily Stoic. I use Marcus Aurelius, Seneca. I use all these great old guys towards real average day problems. So when you have something you directly want to talk about, that's also important. Or what about if you want to drop ship, use drop shipping and sell Amazon? People are making new alternative careers doing this. Being a storyteller now is more profitable than going to your 9 to 5 in some instances. Depends, are you relatable, or can people listen to you? So, I've researched podcasting for 5 years, and it really took me a long time to really get my voice exactly where I want it, to perform like I feel comfortable. And it was strictly only audio for a long time. And then just in the last year, did I put time into the video experience in YouTube. So, Scott, out of curiosity, have you gone on to YouTube, or you're just staying on Clubhouse?
Well, yeah, that's what I was just explaining. Within about 45 to 60 days, I'll be uploading content for probably the first one is going to be a series on a specific topic.
Okay.
So I recently bought a camera. Bought the Sony what is it, the ZV-E10?
Yes,
a friend of mine had recommended.
That's exactly the camera that I have producing to you live. It's an easy plug and play. So if you ever need help with it and setting it up, it's Mac friendly and it's PC friendly. There's only a couple settings you need to put to it. Find a good desk mount. It's a plug and play. Like you're really doing, press the menu button, selecting the USB for for streaming.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I've tried, let's see, cameras I have tried. I've tried the Canon M50 Mark II. I have had a webcams, the Logitech 922. I've also had a Nikon that did not work. So I spent a pretty chunk of change on those things, but the Sony streaming capability, bar none, with ZVE10 is probably one of the best user-friendly cameras that you don't have to buy another lens for, but you can if you want. So
yeah. Well, I'm into photography too. So, and we're building, we have a retreat center here on the Big Island of Hawaii. And
oh, wow.
I've been using my phone for all kinds of photos. And now that I have a better camera, that'll just help us build out the website a little better. But as far as the, what I'm doing, what I like about Clubhouse is that it's audio. So I'm not, I don't have this need for people to see my face and post selfies and be in front of a camera. I bought the camera probably for interviews that I'm going to be doing, but I'm still unsure at this point, where I'll probably just be doing some sort of static artwork or something when it's uploaded to YouTube, because I really like just being a voice rather than people having to watch something. Or just what I love about Clubhouse, like I don't have a profile picture on Clubhouse. It's just that icon of the heptagram that you see. And so people, they're just hearing a voice. They're not making judgments on what I look like or what I might seem like as a person. It's just a voice, which is what originally podcasting was all about. Right. And radio for that matter.
And it's interesting that you have that perspective, because I also share the same one. I mean, because I work with sensitive materials, I don't like to put when I come and make content, I don't want to put, from my experience, my professional license on the line or anything. I really just want to talk about life, and I want to serve experiences and topics. And I seem to remember, Scotty, there's interest that you have, and I can understand why going on the camera could be sticky, but at the same time, it's a growth experience. And if you just feel comfortable staying on the audio, do so. But there's also alternatives. Instead of showing your face, which you could do, like I'm using a application platform called Restream. You could add you can go into record this, not live, just record the visuals, and you're putting pictures of maybe nature and transitions and all of these great things to be out there. And you can make these, say, like if I wanted to take a picture or of a small 10-second video of a plant growing, fast forward, you can do that. I mean, there's so many options of what you can do, but however you feel comfortable, go for it, man. That's really the main point, is making something that you're going to be proud of, growing. And, that's all anyone can ask. And that's the podcasting experience, is telling a story vocally. And what I love about podcasting is it slows things down. And it's different from social streaming or social audio like Clubhouse. Social audio like Clubhouse is meant for people to have live conversations and content creation too. But I feel like when you're making a podcast, a lot of times it's slowing things down. And if it's worthwhile listening to, you could be doing other things. Like I listen to podcasts when I'm working in the yard or going for a walk. I listen to meditations and affirmations to slow my mind down. And being a better listener makes me more astute to life, because my profession is based on listening and reading pretty much. And I think in this world, the way that it's going, not saying it's going good or bad, the greatest skill I have is listening. So, and is that your same experience or like?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a fair amount of content when I'm if I'm driving, and I kind of toggle. Sometimes I definitely need a break, but we've all gone down those rabbit holes of just getting into the groove or finding someone new to listen to. But for me, I think the voice thing is how I'm probably how I'm going to start, and then the camera aspect of it will probably come secondary to when I start doing interviews. So I just wanted to be prepared for that. Yeah. And that was the other thing too, is I bought a Rode mic to put on the camera.
Okay.
And just because, I heard audio on Sony is okay if you're in a soundproof studio, but I'm not. Depends on, I split my time between Oahu and the Big Island, and both places where I'm at, like on Oahu, I'm right on the beach. So there's always beach noise, from the ocean. And then when I'm here on the Big Island, I'm in the rainforest. So there's a lot of birds. And then at night, there's these coqui frogs, which are really loud. So I'm having to build that's the other thing, is I have to build a sound studio that I could just be in with, properly insulated from the sound, which is going to be challenging, because even when you're inside of a well-built house here in this area, you can still hear the frogs outside. So that's one of the things that's slowing me down right now.
Here's a tip on that. Okay, so when it comes to audio settings, and especially for a camera or a phone, and you're using microphones, there is micro settings like what's called a gain. Now, gain picks up on the amount of your voice coming through and the exterior parts around you. And when you go into these settings, you kind of have to play with them and research which is the best for you and the environments you're in. Like there's some people who have a pop filter like I have on my microphone. Even though this microphone I'm using, the Rode Pod mic, which is an XLR, plugged into the Rodecaster, it picks up strictly on my voice. It's not going to pick up on the lawnmower that's going on right outside right now, which is great, because there's nothing worse when you have background noise in your recording and you're like, can they really hear my voice? But also picks up on the crispness. Right. So what I would encourage about when you're doing that with your camera, there are two options. Sure, you could use that microphone, the over the top. Hey, Ginger, you want to come on up? Feel free to come on up. You could use that, or there's other brands that you can have lapel mics that do wireless that will connect right to your camera. And Rode also makes, I think it's called the Go or the Go 2, and you can
the wireless Go 2, yeah.
And if you don't have multiple people, you can get just one. Goes right to your camera or your phone, and that's an option. So Ginger, welcome to the stage. Welcome on up. How you doing today? Anything you care to add?
Hey, yes, thank you. I was just going to reach out to Scott, and I thought of an idea, because you may think I'm strange, which I don't care. Everybody thinks I'm strange, but sometimes
we're all strange. You don't get to be weird. Sorry, we're all weirdos.
I love it. And so I will turn on the coqui frogs. There's like a 10-hour audio loop, and I absolutely adore coqui frogs.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's Hawaii, but I hear that they are very loud in person. But see, to me, I kind of like that, and I like that background thing. You can do one of those 10-hour loops that people go to sleep at. The one I watch has 198,000 views already. And it's simply put the microphone outside and just looping it.
Just loop it. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and especially Jason, being on the Big Island too. That's a big one right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you just want to do audio, that's just a suggestion, because I just love nature. Literally, just when people are talking, I like to hear the animals in the back. If they're on a farm or wherever they are, to some people it's appealing. I'm just saying. I just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the ASMR crowd. They love that stuff. But Ginger's right. There's a lot of people who fall asleep with their TV. They have the heavy rain sounds. They have rainforests. They have all kinds of sounds of the desert. I mean, I've heard it. Some people even like the sound of machinery. Go figure. I met a guy about a year ago where we were talking. He's like, since I moved out of New York City, I can't sleep because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And I was cracking up. I was like,
You want some orange?
what, you want to hear machinery and buses? And he's like, yeah, that's my home. And now I'm out here in the middle of Wyoming. My wife is in the Air Force, and he was just telling me we just changed our lifestyle, and he can't handle it. So he goes to sleep with playing the sounds of New York City. Go figure. But I think that's the other thing about podcasting is you can create opportunity for audio in any spectrum. And to Ginger's point, it's not that you're a weirdo, because most of the time in podcasting, you're not going to hear from the public. You're really not going to hear most of what they think. They're going to listen. But that's where the analytics really key in, and they pick up on how much time you spent recording or downloads. Downloads tell the organizations like Apple and Google, hey, this is a popular content creator. We want to go forward. And you won't hear the feedback of the likes, the dislikes, or sometimes people will leave comments. But one thing I do when I come on air, I think I'm weird, and a lot of people can't wait to hear me. So I put that in my head. I float my own soapbox and I go with it. And that's the beautiful thing, is you can create whatever you want, and it's on you. Now, the hard part about all this, many people want to make money at doing this. And there are many different avenues. Can someone go into this all in and make a career out of it? You can, but you are going to have to go through a lot of hoops. I've been at this for 5 or 6 years, and it's definitely something that I will tell you that takes work. If it's not the tech, it's the content. And now we have things like ChatGPT to write out scripts. So now we don't even know if people are really being themselves or just reading off something that a machine wrote for them. So I think that the creative endeavors of creating just audio is still wide open for anyone. Creating original content, still open for anyone. Doing audio and video, still open for anyone, but it's going to have to be up to you. And Ginger, I just have a quick question. Do you record a podcast yourself? Do you create for distribution like an Apple or anything like that? Or do you make YouTubes? I'm just curious.
So I am just in the beginning of this, and I have been recording on my own. I have not published it anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then I'm playing it, critiquing, and I'm listening to others. So I'm probably taking a little bit too much time in not just that green light go. So this week is my first YouTube video that I'm doing as far as my business, my online business. And it's just simply following, a quirky girl like me who had that 9-to-5 job, no weekends, and decided to go all into this reselling and following that journey while I'm writing my book at the same time, because I want to be promoting that as well along the way. So this week marks, either Thursday or Friday. I've got to get it done. So I'm just in the very, very beginning of this. So I find all of this fascinating. Everything that you guys are talking about, it's just fascinating. And so like Scotty was saying, I simply want to do the audio first. And so the YouTube is obviously alive, but it's not going to be my face. It's something how I process a part of my business and what I do. Because on Clubhouse, people are telling me, well, I want you to show me how you're doing that. Just get some soup cans and put your phone up there and prop it and record how you're doing this part. And even just use your hands, do whatever, because they're wanting it. So I'm going to try it. And that's where I'm at right now. Totally beginning. It's getting ready to happen. I'm creating that plan. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and implement the YouTube, because I am spending so much time doing the research and all of that. I think I'm kind of ready to just start, really. I think that's the hardest part. I mean, was that hard for you when you first started? Was the simply just start?
Well, there is a little bit of fear in all of this, and there's a lot. And I've listened to some of the biggest names in podcasting and YouTube, and they all say the same thing in the beginning. It's really about just making your content, just getting better. You get better over time. The more effort you put into it, the more time and practice you do it, the better it's going to get. So don't worry about sucking at it, because that's we suffer more in the mind. I would say we really suffer more in the mind, as the Stoics would say, than we actually do in reality. And this is why I tell people, don't worry about being the expert. I think it was another content creator on here who was saying, I'm a perfectionist. And said that to me just the other day. And I'm like, oh, well, perfectionist just means that you're judging yourself so harshly and how are you balancing?
And they're never happy.
Yeah, you're never happy. So how are you really going to know your perfection at what? And the word perfection just means to complete, to be good. And if it can be done better, then do better. But somehow in our minds, we feel that the world has to fit in us. Our work has to fit in a box. And if it's in that box, someone will select. But then there's the imagination of thousands of people listening to you, and praising you and all that great stuff. But if you're not really attached to that, it's even better. And what I say, here's a reality about podcasting. You may have 100,000 loyal subscribers, but only less than a tenth may listen to any of your given works. You look at even the most famous guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, he has millions of followers. But if you look at his current analytics, 35,000, 100,000, and depending on the episode, or sometimes 3 million, whether it catches the attention of others, it's debatable. So that's the thing is, don't get paralysis with analysis in the podcasting process. Do not get stuck in what you don't know, because what you assume, and this goes for anything in life, what you don't know doesn't matter.
I got to get, Jason, I got to get going. So I just want to say thanks,
Scotty, for coming out.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, definitely look forward to having you back. I'll be back on tomorrow between 7 and 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Hawaii time. I think that's like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. But
yeah, we're 3 hours later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or early. You're 3 hours ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. But appreciate you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. YouTube. Thanks. See you, Ginger.
Have a good night. Enjoy those cookie frogs.
Yeah. So as I'm getting ready to bring this to a close, I just want to say it's an amazing experience that you can do with the podcast. And I think I might just come on once a week in the evening, maybe Tuesday nights, and go into specific about podcasting and vidcasting. Specifically, why not? Because there's all these videos that these people say stuff so fast in the YouTubes, and I don't catch it. It's like I have to rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. And it's like, break it down a little slower, and I think people would enjoy that. Anyhow, Ginger, is there anything that you'd like to share in closing? Because I'm getting ready to end the show for today. I definitely appreciate it.
So you had rattled off a lot of, I'm glad you can record now. This is awesome on here, on this app, but you rattled off a lot of different, apps that you subscribe to. Mm-hmm. If you pick one for me, an absolute beginner to start with, when would that be?
For which purpose? That's the technical question. What?
Okay.
If you wanted to, go ahead.
But just because I don't know, I don't know what I don't know. And what would be the best investment for the first part? Should it be the transcript writing one that you were talking about?
Oh, DESCRIPT for audio editing and video?
Yeah.
So I want to motivate you to spend the right money. Make money to spend money in the right places, right? This is what I do. When I first started getting podcasting, the one thing I looked at the cost, the equipment, and how to put it all together, and it was overwhelming. So what did I start with first? The first thing I would say is, what platform do you want to record? Do you want to be on your phone, or do you want it to be, say, like on a computer? If you have it on a computer, building your software up, buying an external hard drive where you can store all your audio, That would be one helpful piece of hardware. And as far as the software is concerned, find out what's free that you don't have to spend, so you can use, you could use DESCRIPT. They have a professional plan for $30 right now, I think. And they have a creator program for $15 a month. And then I believe they have a free one. So you could record in DESCRIPT, connecting your phone and connecting your PC or your Mac, and you can record there. And it has capability of publishing. I haven't looked at their publishing, because what I do is to publish now my audio. I use what's rss.com. I paid $100 for the year, and that means for a whole year I can produce as much material as I want. I upload the audio after I edit it, and it's there for Apple Podcasts, Google, Amazon, Audible, and I paid for that for the year. So I'll tell you what, Ginger, I will be creating a series every week, the first parts of podcasting. And if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime you like. And if you have like a concern, or like, how do I do this? If I don't have time to explain to you, I will send you a video on YouTube where I learned, that's usually 15 minutes or less, that shows exactly what I use. So if I have time to explain it, absolutely I will. DESCRIPT could be a great platform if you're just using your phone or your computer, either where it crossovers, and you can do that. So I would try DESCRIPT, and that way you can check your own video out or audio, and you can get rid of what you don't want, the ums and the ahs, or that kind of saying, you know what I mean? So is that helpful for you?
Perfect. That's what I'm looking at, because as I'm listening back, I do have those unnecessary fillers, and I think I'm just kind of afraid of that, like, pause, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll get that. So DESCRIPT, is it just the letter D and then script?
Let me look at it just so I make sure I can send it to you. So let me see if I can share this on YouTube. So I don't know if you're subscribed to me on YouTube, but let me look up DESCRIPT.
No, I'll find you.
Yeah.
Is it just under
72 the Architect? Yep. It's that simple.
Okay.
Let's see if I can share the website. And signing in. Let's see. Okay. Well, I'll share the screen with everybody. So I have 2 live viewers right now. Actually, I'm gonna sign out so I can show you the website. Yeah, let me get out of that. Give me just a second to do this all over again, because it's making me go into my software exactly. And I'm like, I don't want you. Okay, now I got a view. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So boom, DESCRIPT, share. All right. And matter of fact, I'll even show a view of the pricing. So right now, here's what they offer. Free, you get 1 month, 720p, which is audio, or it's video, and the ums and the ahs they'll add up, and up to 1,000 words of your vocabulary, up to 10-minute file, and first 5 results per search. Now for $12 a month, this is the creator program. You get 10 hours, unlimited watermark free. You get 4K quality video, filler words removals, ums and ahs. You get overdub, 1,000-word vocabulary, AI screen up to 60-minute file, studio sound. That means if you want to work with your sound and it needs a little boost, it'll help you with that. Up to 60-minute file, and stock library up to 12 results per search. And the pro plan is $24 a month, and you get 30 hours, unlimited 4K, the filler. You get unlimited on everything else I just mentioned. So I do the 24, and I paid for the year in advance. So since you're into drop shipping and all that good stuff, you could use a portion of this as a write-off. So if you pay, it's $288 for the year for the pro. And what I would do is I'd take that expense, write it off in your drop shipping business fear, and then it's basically you're going to get the money back on your taxes. I believe. I believe that. I'm not sure absolutely, but I think my accountant would say the same thing. But I'll have to check with them on that. So that is also what you can do. But the app is amazing, and these guys that created DESCRIPT, they offer tutorials live every other week or so. I've seen these guys, hey, here's a new feature we can do with DESCRIPT, but it does take learning and practice. So I will say that it can be ready to go, but you got to put practice time and learn time. So that's why I tell people in the morning, spend 30 minutes of learning something for you, before you have to tend to everybody else, family, kids, whatever. Spend time learning something and you'll enjoy the experience. Anyhow, I think that's it. I'm going to bring the show to a close. I want to say thank you all those viewers on YouTube. If you could leave me a comment in the chat, who's viewing me? I know, let's see. Let me look in the chat. I have Lulu Ashanda. Thank you so much for coming in. And I don't know who the anonymous visitor is on YouTube, but thank you so much. Comments are appreciated. We'll see you all next time. Hey, Jason and guest. That's right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So we'll see you tomorrow on Breakout and YouTube. I'll be doing my Rise and Grind, or Rising with 72, and we'll talk about a little bit about Stoicism. So you all have a great one. We'll see you next time.